This is not the first time that this legal conundrum has been raised. Where does the South African law currently stand on customary same-sex marriages? Well, Yveka, tonight you have an expert in this field. Am I correct in saying that there's new thinking on this now? The law has moved on.
Well, it is a touchy subject, that we can tell you for sure. But yes, Hopewell Sathekge, he is from Lawtons Africa. It's a law firm. He's done some examination of the issue for us. And let's see what he's found. I mean, have we really moved on? Hopewell, thank you so much for your time. And yes, you've written at length about this, about the Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, recognizing same-sex marriages. And, you know, how far have we come on this?
I don't think we've come very far, but the South African Supreme Court of Appeal issued a judgment in September last year where it said there don't have to be a handover and lobola need not be paid in full for there to be a valid customary marriage, heterosexual customary.
Heterosexual, okay.
So, in fact, when they made that judgment, they said that customary law is flexible and dynamic in that it changes with the time depending on what people need. So then that's, I suppose, the change from that perspective. Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, same-sex marriage, yes, it's been a bit of a hot potato, and as advanced as we think, I mean, there are still, you know, barriers that we face. And I would imagine that the cultural barriers prove to be some of the biggest when it comes to the recognition.
Yeah, that's exactly it. In that, on the one end, the Supreme Court of Appeal is saying that it's dynamic, it changes, while at the same time, not a lot of traditional leaders recognize same-sex marriages, and that's the issue, is that for as long as custom doesn't recognize that they're same-sex marriages, then you can't get married customarily.
So what are we seeing happening out there for those who want to be together, but of course, like you say, you know, it's not recognized, it's not allowed?
Well, legally that is. Yeah. I mean, it's all good and well that you can get married customarily, but whether the law will recognize is a different story. You know, you find that people get married customarily where there's exchange of gifts as opposed to lobola payment. But can you go to court? Can you go to Home Affairs and say you want your marriage certificate issued? I highly doubt you can.
So what needs to happen?
So what needs to happen is that more and more people need to get married customarily, so that someone needs to go to court and say, look, I want to get married customarily, and I want to be recognized on that basis. Yep.
Someone needs to do it. So somebody needs to get the ball rolling.
Someone needs to get married customarily. Yep.
Okay, so, I mean, you know, like you say, the question raised, does our Constitution enable customary law to evolve to enable this? And I suppose the question is, what does it say? You know, how does it address this?
What comes to mind with the Constitution is equality. On the one end, heterosexual couples can get married in terms of the Marriages Act or the Civil Unions Act, but they can't get married. So if a homosexual couple decides to get married in terms of the Civil Unions Act, the Act specifically says you can't get married in terms of the Marriages Act or in terms of recognition of the Customary Marriages Act. So the issue of equality then comes to play in that.
How so?
In that heterosexual couple can choose to get married whether in terms of the Marriages Act or in terms of the Civil Unions Act or Customary Marriages Act, whereas a homosexual couple can't get married. They can only get married in terms of the Civil Unions Act.
Okay, and you know, at this point, I suppose we must ask how many people, because, I mean, relationships, partnerships, marriage as we know it has taken so many different forms. How many people are going in for traditional customary marriages anyway in the country?
Yeah, I mean, you'd find very famous people that have gone through that process, but it's a question of, as I said, is it recognized legally?
Yeah.
Can they say that they're married in terms of the law? And that's the big question.
And if that is not recognized, if they're customary marriages, what are the implications for that? Like, and I know recently we had a case of someone dying and the will and estate and all of that. So just very quickly in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell is that you might say you exchange of gifts between the two families, but the law, if you don't enter into an eNCA, anti-nuptial contract that is, then you would have deemed to be married in community of property, and you go to court, the court might just say, look, there's no marriage, so therefore you weren't married in community of property, so you can't lay a claim on the estate.
And coming up with your own agreement on paper is not going to make a difference. Your own sort of.
I mean, I suppose the advice that we always give is that in any event, enter into an anti-nuptial contract, so that if you choose to get married in terms of the Civil Unions Act or Customary Marriages Act, at least you're protected from the beginning.
Still a long road to travel
when
it comes to this, as advanced as we might think we are, Jeremy. We still have a long way to go.
As you rightly say, that it'll take the one incident to turn the...
Anybody putting their hand up out there? We'll find out.
All right, Yveka, thank you.